What is up, all you gamers? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the weekly Esports Rewind podcast, where we talk at length about all of the crazy topics, and there has been, well, a lot this past week. Are you ready?
I am ready. We normally start out with a comment. I actually have a few if you need one.
Please read.
And so there's two of them. I got you.
Okay,
we have two that are pretty similar. One being from Juan and one being from MJOCJR. One says you guys should stream, and the other one says, does Jake stream? It can be interesting to see him streaming. And all we have to say is maybe soon.
Hopefully sometime soon. We think live is definitely something that we would love to see from you guys, interact with you on more of a frequent basis, but sometime soon, hopefully. Are you ready now?
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Obviously, one of the bigger topics at the point of us recording that has not been announced has been the rumors of what Nickmercs is going to do to really shift up the gaming space. Likely to be, it's going to be this week. We know that for sure. As of what day exactly, it could be out by now. But we've already talked about the rumors of will he stay with Twitch. The more likely will he go to YouTube, which I think we agree. Well, you said he's going to sign with Tesla. But either way, whether he stays or if he goes, especially, we are talking about one of the biggest signings we have ever seen in gaming.
I signed the biggest deal of my life, the biggest deal by far. Like the kind of deal that, it's not about you anymore. It's your family and your friends and shit, So, we've been making moves, man. Under Armour as well. We got the barbecue coming up, which is, a big thing. We've been making moves, man. It's been a really, really busy, good year,
I think it's obvious. It's an easy guess to say it's probably going to be to YouTube, right? But like you said, there's part of me that just hopes it's something out of left field because he's hinted at this being the biggest deal of his life for such a long time. So the two things I want are either A, it's out of left field. It's a deal. He's an owner of Tesla now, or maybe he's got a deal with ESPN that his streams are going to be on ESPN. And then
or a co-owner of Barstool.
Right, something crazy like that. But on the other hand, what I really want to know is once this deal is announced, whether it's signing to YouTube, staying on Twitch, I just want to know what these numbers are at this point because he said it's the biggest deal so many times.
Yeah, and you got to imagine, right? Everyone's going to draw back on the Ninja 30 million. What was it? Was it Shroud $10 million deals? And those at the time were crazy amounts of money. That was also towards the peak of these streaming contracts, right? Ninja was the first. So you got to imagine probably in between that 10 to 30 ballpark, you wouldn't think it'd be a bigger deal than Ninja's first move to Mixer, right? Because Ninja had to make the sacrifice. I would say that Nick is bigger now than Ninja was at that point because he was kind of tailing off a little bit. But it was also a sacrifice to go to Mixer. It wasn't to YouTube or Twitch where you're going to do pretty well still.
And I have to imagine after hearing people like, obviously Nick tease about it, but see TimTheTatman and Lupo's move, it seems like likely contracts like Shrouds and Ninjas were really big numbers monetary wise, but they also had to match that with a lot of streaming hours. But now we see them talking about, oh, I want to be a family man. I am a family man. I have kids. I want to be with them. So maybe they're just getting these deals that are really big because it is still a lot of money, maybe not as much, but for less streaming hours. And so their content gets to kind of take a bit of a pivot. And so that's huge for them and their family.
And we're seeing a lot of people try and guess. My guess would be anywhere from 15 to 30 million, assuming a 3-year contract. I mean, you don't stress as Nickmercs after spending 350 grand on a barbecue. You don't say the biggest deal of your life and have it be for a couple millis. So you got to imagine tens of millions of dollars, what we're talking about. He's going to be the next big move to actually sign. Where do you guys think he's going to go, or what is he going to do? Stay on Twitch or move to YouTube? Speaking of some other people out there that might be signing sometime soon, Zlaner, last time we talked about him, well, he's been wrapped up in Warzone drama as per usual. You and me entangled deep into that stuff. We also talked about his platform moves, of which is not going to be Twitch. I believe he's still fielding contract offers from YouTube and Facebook, but people seem to think, and sorry if I missed anything, that it's going to be Facebook that he's going to choose with. So, hey, Nickmercs, Facebook could be a thing, but also some big deals do continue as Zlaner, outside of maybe signing to an organization, he has also been involved in some more Warzone drama, maybe not what you're expecting, potentially screwed out of $30,000 this past weekend while playing alongside FaZe Kalei.
I watched it all. So was the issue where Kalei died when Buddy called it his the hacker or whatever, or whatever that was?
Yeah,
I watched the whole tournament.
Yeah, even he...
Because you lost like 10-9, right?
Yeah, even he said...
That's shocked, eh?
Yeah, even
he... Was that except Kalei or what?
No. So we had to... The way this tourney worked was we were in the third game. and we tied the third game. So the tiebreaker, the way they were doing the tiebreaker in this was first team to 10 kills. So we went into another game, and it was the first team to get 10 kills. Kalei would have won us the game if she did not die. Basically, we wouldn't even probably reset if she didn't die the way she did.
I honestly thought this was going in a different direction when you started a
That's
story
my bad.
about Zlaner. I didn't know where it was going, but yes, I don't know why people. I know why people keep playing Warzone tournaments, but we talked about this months ago when there's problems in tournaments repeatedly, and they used to be more so about the glitches and hackers and stuff like this. But when you miss out on a chance to win something like 30K in a single tournament as a creator, I mean, that's huge. And so you have to expect that they're going to be upset about it. They're going to take to Twitter, and they didn't make that much of a fuss, to be fair, at all. But I have to imagine, putting myself in their shoes, I'd be pretty upset about it.
And we've seen this because with the Warzone space involving a lot of probably middle to smaller tier events, 5K, 10K, 30K, still a lot of money. But these are tournament organizers who are not established. They've been putting on mainly just Warzone events, right? So for this $30,000 one, if it was explained correctly to me, you saw Kalei tweet about it. I think she later deleted that because she doesn't want the fuss on Twitter. Z also tweeting about this as well. And so pretty much, I believe it was a bit of a race between these two teams, and it evidently came down to a tiebreaker, which was a kill race, first team to 10 kills. And if I'm correct, it was Zlaner and Kalei about to come up on that 10th kill when all of a sudden the team they're playing against thought they had died to a hacker. They called that out in the comms, but so loudly that it interfered with Kayleigh's comms, so she couldn't hear. And so it was right. She was approaching actually her 10th kill. They would have likely moved on. The part here being that there was no time given to actually dispute all of this.
Right.
The TO just said, nope, we're going to let the other team move on, even though the other team that played against Kalei and Zlaner agreed it should be reset or rerun between them, which is the biggest part here, right? And a TO not giving enough time with this much money on the line. I understand that events go on for a long period of time, and it might be one of your early on tournaments, but you have to have a backup plan because especially with a game like Warzone, you have to expect these kind of issues.
And I think I did see, I think it was the organizer, one of the organizers that was at least a part of the event responded to one of them. I think it was to Zlaner. I don't know if you caught that or not.
I think that's actually Sage. So he was the one that they were playing against.
Oh, and he was the one who responded saying, yeah, if I knew this had affected you guys so much, then we would have made sure there was more of a pause, more time or something like that.
Yeah, I believe that was Sage who they were playing against. And yeah, he also agreed. So it really, really does suck. But at the end of the day, Z's made plenty of money. Kayleigh's doing great with FaZe. But you got to put yourself, they're doing really well. But put yourself in their shoes of if you and me had a chance at a good chunk of 30K and we got stuff like that, we'd be living.
Oh, yeah, probably we could probably win a foot race or a volleyball tournament if anyone wants to, challenge us for 30K.
Any TOs out there want to start doing real life challenges?
Yeah,
or,
we got you.
Or new world challenges.
There you go.
I'll be the first to harvest this. Yeah, anyway, though, Zlaner and FaZe Kalei screwed out of $30,000+ or a good chunk of it. What did y'all think of it? A $40 million event solely upcoming for International 10. It's the biggest news, obviously, in the Dota scene. We don't cover too often, but when $40 million because of given the COVID and the pandemic last year, delaying everything, the prize pool just continued to accumulate. This will be the biggest esports prize pool of all time, which typically, besides Fortnite World Cup, Dota has been setting year in and year out. Now, the attention around this event is not just on the $40 million, but now on several complaints. We had COVID complaints. We now have refunded tickets for the live audience. We have teams calling out Valve for the practice situations. On and on. We are going to be talking about this in probably a bit of a lengthier segment.
And just so we don't get sacrificed, I think it's the International 11 now.
I thought it was TI 10.
That is correct.
I think it's 11.
One of us is literally wrong.
So one of us is wrong and one of us is right, and we'll find out after the show.
I'm saying TI 10, so I'm probably wrong.
Regardless, what we saw this morning, actually, which I think was the juiciest part, was Team Secret, who put out. Wait, what are you wearing?
Oh,
is it Team Secret?
It's Team Spirit.
Team Spirit.
Wow.
You got me.
Wow.
I know. And so Team Spirit, who put out, oh my God.
It was actually Cloud9.
They put out a video on their actual Twitter, so on the team's Twitter, and it shows them going into their practice room, quote unquote. Well, I don't even feel comfortable calling it a practice room because they got there, and then it's an hour and a half after they got there, and you see the players who their backs are pretty much touching when they're sitting in the kitchen. There's a microwave literally like right above someone's computer. They don't have any internet right before that they're supposed to be practicing and playing, and that's where they play for group stages. They don't have toilet paper. I mean, it was a whole new Fire Fest.
They're literally playing in their kitchen / you could see it in the video if you guys go check it out. But to have a team, post on their direct Twitter saying, hey, here's our situation. I think the crazier part of the video from Team Spirit is if you guys watch the full thing, they make accusations, which we are not sure are true, that the living situations are based on your DPC points, the points you earn throughout the year. And the lower scored point teams who have lower points, like Team Spirit, had situations similar to theirs where other teams were given better practice and team rooms.
And they said it's the top 10 teams have like real nice big rooms. And I think I'm kind of split on this because on one hand, you kind of expect that the top teams that are going to the tournament are going to have nice stuff and going to have nicer rooms. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean the other team should have awful rooms. They still need to be like decently playable. You know?
I think it depends on the financial situation of what was afforded to people. So obviously if a team like OG steps out of their way to spend more money on a better room, okay, all fair. But if this is all given to the teams and this is all they could allocate, and they allocate the worst stuff for the lesser scoring teams and the best stuff to the better scoring teams just because they're bigger brands or bigger teams, you're walking a hairy line that's set for a lot of controversy, especially because you dedicate $40 million to a prize pool. Maybe slip a few 100,000, whatever it takes, probably maybe a bit more than that.
I was gonna say take $1 million off that. I bet teams would be okay.
It's
with
now
it.
39, but everyone gets a fair opportunity to stab at group stage.
Exactly, which I think most people would be happy about, but it's definitely interesting to see a team directly calling them out and calling out the tournament for it. And then moving on from that, seeing that the tournament also dropped all fans, right? So they refunded tickets back to everyone. That was my only thought in the situation is, well, maybe they're losing money because they had to give so much back in tickets. But we don't really know the situation on that or how much money they made or how much they lost. But it certainly is a bummer for teams to go and not have good situations. And even if they make it to the stage, they're not going to have fans in the arena.
Yeah, and the big part here being is it's 5 days before they finally announced this. Now, I understand the argument to this would be as a fan, as a viewer, if you're going to be traveling internationally right now to no matter where, especially for a live event, you have to realize there is a risk in the fact that this could fall through last second.
Yeah.
But to play the other side, it still freaking sucks for all the people who traveled all the way across the world. If you guys go to the actual post made by Dota, tons of replies of like, I just got here, or I just got here from Brazil, I just got here from so-and-so, I just flew across the ocean to land to find this out. So could they not have, to wait 5 days before? Even then, I don't know how international travel works. If it even was 2 weeks, could you still get your money back for an international flight? The tickets themselves will be refunded, but you can't refund likely hotel and travel, which is going to be for these. It's going to be a lot of money.
I have to play devil's advocate as I normally do.
Yes, you do.
I feel like they must have known before 5 days before. Like you said, they like a 2 week notice is what you give to your job. Couldn't you have at least given everyone that was traveling a 2 week notice? Or did something happen right before that they were like, oh, well, now we have to change it. Sorry, guys. You just have to think they must have at least had inklings of it to warn people, hey, this might be happening.
I don't know how that approach works. Did they know 8 days before and they thought, 8 days, it's already going to be too close. Let's wait to see if anything changes the next 3 days. And now it's like, okay, now we probably should say something because we're this close the same week of.
Yeah. I think overall it just sets a bad tone for the international. We also saw a couple other random news things for the international in the scene, whether that stuff, whatever you want to think about that. But we saw Seb, who missed out on a $40 million prize pool because he had to get eye surgery for emergency. But we also, good news was EG, which we both appreciated, I think, who partnered with Dr. K, I believe he goes by, for a little bit of mental health coaching with their players. And so with all this stress, I imagine for these teams, whether they have small rooms or not, a move like that is a pretty good thing in the scene.
Yeah, and at the point of us recording, OG is actually set to have an announcement on Seb's update, so we're not fully sure. But even the prospect that I think it was a retinal detachment, which is scary as ever to think about. But imagine being a player, especially one as experienced as Seb and one as titled as Seb as well with OG Esports and what they do typically, how they succeed at international events or the international, and then to have a $40 million, the biggest one ever in front of you, and this is the time where your eye is like, I'm going to detach. I mean, it's a scary thing. Obviously, hopes and prayers, right? It's got to be a terrifying experience to go through. So we'll see the update on that. And then it's really great to see a guy like Dr. K, a Twitch streamer plus content creator for mental health. What a great collab. And yeah, I got to imagine there's a lot of stress on the line when you're playing for first place, $18+ million alone.
Sorry, I was laughing because of the way you said your eyes just like, oh, I think I'm going to detach right now. Like it's just premeditating, waiting. I think right now is the time to do it.
And TI 10, 11.
One of the two, we'll find out. I don't know.
But a lot of international news. What did you guys think about it? And it's going to be a crazy weekend for sure. We'll see if there's any responses to other teams and their living situations. A bit of a random story out there from the Call of Duty scene involving some female talent, which caused a lot of controversy. You know, I'm not going to take this one too seriously. I want everyone out there to take a deep breather, because whenever you bring up these kind of topics, people like to get heated on both sides. It's actually a well-known, I would say, female player from the Black Ops 4 days, the BO4 days, which was kind of sparked up this past weekend as she was playing some chows against some noted teams out there, or noted players, I should say, one of whom was Illy, and then eventually Clayster even jumping in on this one. It was actually Illy and I believe Mohawk calling her out on Twitter for apparently being what they called a bot or AI, accusing her of cheating. And if you guys have not seen the clip, it's a short 12-second clip by Mohawk out on Twitter, which caused a huge... I mean, we were bored in the COD scene apparently this past weekend, and so this clip went out there. Illy said... Illy responded to that, and later on it was actually Clayster responding to the clip and saying he has never seen someone shoot that straight, cheating 100%, which, if you guys don't know, whenever you make an accusation that says 100% without full proof, you are bound in this day and age to receive so much backlash, no matter who you are.
Well, and it's just so common these days that people just automatically think, oh, definitely hacking, for sure hacking. And that's almost frustrating that the scene has gotten to that point. But to see someone as big as Illy to come out and say that is just, you're playing a dangerous game. You're playing with fire there, bud.
I mean, but even someone bigger like Clayster to say, I mean, even Illy was kind of just, yeah, maybe you could say it was kind of hinting at cheating, but Clayster literally says cheating 100%. Last time I saw someone point this kind of accusation was back in like the Brazil CSGO days at Leaf, or there was a lot of accusations of CSGO days that this never goes well, because unless you have someone detected by an actual cheat software, it's just all of us voices. But I will say, to Clayster's defense, we in the internet, we do take things really seriously, but in her defense, this hurts her a lot to have a big COD pro accuse her 100% without backing. He was just calling out the fact that she plays wagers, has sus clips out there. I've been playing the same game for 3 years. I think both sides certainly have their points, and that's why people like you and me can talk about it and be like, oh, Clayster, that's pretty crazy. Oh, that clip, that's also pretty crazy. I think ever since she's also added a hand cam to her stream. And I found a really curious point out there of like these kind of accusations, they can really break a player. But I saw someone respond and say, or make someone. I didn't know who she was until all the COD players started calling her out.
It's, again, though, playing with fire there, because it's dangerous where you have someone like Clayster calling him out, and now you have the real bots in the situation, which are viewers a lot of the times on Twitch streams, who will just follow COD drama, and they just go from stream to stream to almost harass people, honestly. And so they're going to see, all they're going to see is Clayster calling her out.
And now her name is also Selly.
So then they go to Selly's stream, and they're just going to be immediately, without even looking into it, doing their own research or reading responses, they'll, type in chat and just be like, oh, you're hacking, you're totally hacking, stop hacking, all that good stuff. And I'm sure it gets old, but like you said, maybe that can turn into something good where people go and support her now, or they realize that, oh, she's definitely not hacking, she has a hand cam on. Then we'll stay and watch for a little bit.
You think about all the Warzone streamers alone, right? Mutex, Symphony, Zlaner, even someone like Shroud has cheating accusations, albeit their cheating accusations don't come from established and one of the most accomplished Call of Duty pros of all time. So, hey, I'm just not in the mood to even take fights or take sides right now, to be honest. It's pretty crazy that Call of Duty pros are calling out a female pro. Then you got Zuma thrown on top like, hey, she been frying. First female player in COD League, because he was just adding at that point. I love that perspective, right? Just clearly adding all of this fuel. Clayster does not actually apologize. Instead, he further explains where he's coming from. I believe Selly has now also addressed these kind of things and commented on them. At the end of the day, We got a female COD pro who does fry. Clayster's final point on this was, we'll never know until LAN. So let's hope the pandemic clears up and she can move on from BO4 and maybe show some of those skills in Vanguard, and we could see some female COD talent. What do y'all think about it? And this is certainly a good one to keep towards the tail end of the podcast, because it's another controversial one, which a lot of people have a lot of opinions on. And I feel like every time we talk to you guys, we're talking about, sadly, some big controversies. It's actually a Warzone and Call of Duty streamer known as Rallied, who was called out and accused this past week, not only of some mentally abusive things towards some former partners. For me, the bigger part of the story, and I think you were on the other side of this, it's a big story no matter what. The more obvious part was a racist clip that was tweeted out in response to all of the abusive allegations going towards him. This clip being a recording very clearly that Rallied has responded to of him saying some racist comments. We'll leave it at that. I'm sure you guys have probably seen the short clip out there.
Yeah, if you haven't, I would suggest just going to watch our first
very
video on
bad.
it, just if you want to actually have context for it. But essentially, the timeline of this was, we had a couple of partners come out, former partners, exes, come out and speak out against Rallied, of saying, hey, I'm speaking out because there's been recently a moment of harassment with my dad, and therefore I want to bring up this stuff because it was always happening. And they end up agreeing about it, and multiple come out, more and more stories of all these different women who were involved with them saying, yeah, he used to, have all these conversations. They'd have screenshots of how he would talk to them, stuff like that, and make accusations towards him. After that happened, there ended up being a response to one of the tweets that had that video in it that further accused, and I don't even know if accused is the right word there, because you can very much hear that it is Rallied talking, say those racist comments. Rallied kind of responds in a way that rubbed me the wrong way. I think rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, where he's like, oh, I have no idea, because he got called out by big names like Swag, Modern Warzone, and he said, man, I don't know. I don't remember this. I'm going to have to get to the bottom of this. I'll let you know, kind of deal.
Yeah, and it certainly was. I mean, we've seen Swag respond to these cases in the past over some other big stories out there in the space, and we've seen a lot of, there was a lot of big names out there responding with, what the heck is this? And of course, Rallied's main response of, he's going to get to the bottom of this, and he did have his own personal response on this, which was an extended video of explaining his side of things,
right,
which was also, again, with today and age, you can never perfect a response, and especially when you're responding to such serious things, there was never going to be a winning side to a response like that.
I can't believe it, but I guess it's true, so I'm really sorry that this ever happened. I do not stand for the things that are said in the video that was unearthed and in the text messages that were leaked out. That is not who I am today. I am a changed man. I am in a loving relationship with my beautiful girlfriend Valerie, and we have a beautiful puppy together.
And all I'll say on the video is, again, people were split about it, because he is choked up the whole time, and you have to choose for yourself watching it. Hey, am I going to believe this person's being genuine, or am I not? Because that's the only lens you can see it through. So some people saying, oh, it seems like he's just forcing himself to be choked up, this, that, and the other. He talks about all the good things he's done for them, and he's a changed man. He's been trying to put good out into the world. I really do love everyone. But he also makes some weird comments in there that I know I passed along to you at certain points, where he stutters on certain things that probably you want to go back and re-record some of these things if you're trying to make a message really clear. And so at the end of the day, it didn't feel to me maybe as genuine as it could have, but you either believe in him or you don't, and that's the choice you have to make.
Yeah, with some of these things we've seen drawn up, it's with stuff that comes up from several years ago, and these seem to be 1 to 2 years ago, and decently recent, which I think adds to things. There's definitely going to be a lot of Rallied fans out there who say, people are drawing it out. For me, the more obvious part was clearly the clip of the racism, because we don't dive into relationships too often, right? Relationships are very, very two-sided, and it could have been an overall very unhealthy situation, which he explained that he had thought they had moved past that. But I don't know all of those details. Relationships are very complicated. They are very, very, they go a lot deeper than social media probably reveals it to be.
Definitely.
But certainly overall, still a very, very bad situation. We'll likely see him, as he said, take a time away and see if he eventually does return. What did you guys think about Rallied, though? A Warzone and Call of Duty streamer, accused and exposed for quite a bit this past week. Very lastly, for all of you guys on this Esports Rewind, it's not a week without Twitch doing something that is heavily under question. Released over the past couple of days is some future testing of what Twitch might implement. They might do in the future, seems to be, it's very possible, of boosting yourself in the discoverability on Twitch. The thing is, though, I believe it's your viewers, or is it also you personally, who can actually pay to boost your stream to other viewers.
So the idea is similar to gifted subs, where they are able to pay to gift you subs, but this time you're paying X amount to recommend your stream to other people on Twitch, to new viewers on Twitch, which they did with channel points. I was in channels who did that, and you could contribute channel points to eventually boost the stream. But this one just feels weird because it's paid for, and it obviously begs the question, who is this going to benefit the most at the end of the day? The massive streamers or the really small ones?
Yeah, there's so many talking points on this, right? Overall, it to me, it seems like a bad decision. I think that was the general community feedback, because you're going to have XQC, who will forever be recommended, and he already was going to be. But I think about the 2 viewer streamers, the really, really low tier. Does this now make it even more of a gap between the top streamers, middle streamers, and the super small ones? And at what point are you like, okay, do I want my viewer to pay $10 to promote my stream, or do I want that as a donation? I mean, having to choose between those two things, obviously it's going to benefit some people more than others.
Yeah.
And it could also benefit a new up-and-comer, right? Who's to say, maybe not the best comparison, but someone who exploded as fast as Aiden Ross with a very, very diehard fan base, albeit maybe does some dumb things here and there quite frequently, but a fan base like that, you imagine his growth would have been, spurted even more so, because it's such a loyal audience. They're going to gift you subs, they're going to donate, and now they're going to rally behind you and say, let's all get this channel discovered and we'll pay for it.
And we had a lot of big names call it out to, obviously, Twitch people, Twitch experts like Devin Nash or even Harris Heller.
Co-Carnage.
Coming out, Co-Carnage, all speaking out against it. But weirdly, a good take from XQC. We don't see those too often, I'll say.
It was well explained.
Yes.
He has a lot of good thoughts. Just getting the words out.
The problem with this is that if a lot of people start doing it and it buries organic content with manufactured dog shit, the problem is that users will leave the platform and will come back less often. Wait, and the reason why that is that they are experiencing less content that they want to consume because of how far down the content that they would normally watch is down, is under, it's being buried by garbage.
And so he says, hey, this is just going to put garbage on our front page. It's no longer going to be this organic growth that you see, which is when people really do explode, where, oh, people are clicking on the stream and staying on the stream, and so we're going to recommend it to people. But to everyone else's point, it's just not organic anymore, and Twitch doesn't even have a good system for discovering people to begin with. You go on the front page and you see all the same people, maybe a few people that are similar to what you've watched before.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's nothing. People like to compare to TikTok. There's no discover page for Twitch streams where you could just, swipe on to the next one and you see a random stream on Twitch. And so I think people are just a little upset that this was the route that they took.
To that small degree, I mean, I do usually look for my streams the same way, right? I go to the top of every category, or I go to the most watched current games, and then I go to the top streamer there. So if I do want to have someone slipped in front of me that actually earned it, or maybe they did buy it, if I enjoy them, I think it was actually in the Optic podcast, Hitch was talking about this, and it made a lot of sense. It does suck for the smaller streamers who are going to be bypassed even more, but those viewers are not going to stay on the channel unless they truly enjoy the content.
Right.
So I just don't see if is this just a money grab? Is it really going to be beneficial at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it will be. Obviously, we'll just have to find out if it is at the end of the day. As much as we want to complain about it, we don't know how it's going to turn out. It could be just fine. But
True.
Another small little thing, I'm not sure if you saw it, I think you did this morning, that we saw another feature being added to Twitch is audio only ads, where it will mute the stream and then an audio for an ad will play. And their goal is to be less disruptive.
You don't miss the big moments.
Right. So you can at least see the moments. But some people were also putting up a fuss about that because who knows, are you just going to get your ears blasted out randomly by who knows who's going to be advertising in your ears? I don't know. So we'll just have to see on that too.
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of these, you got to see how they roll out, because with Twitch, it's so easy to just complain about it right away. So certainly very debatable, especially, I mean, when someone like Carnage speaks out. Carnage is literally on the Twitch Safety Council and Advisory Board. If I remember correctly, he's still on it, and he's calling it out. So when you have all these top figures at least expressing their concern, I think it only betters it where Twitch is like, okay, we will slowly maybe try and roll this out and maybe change some things. So what do y'all think about that? Paying to boost your Twitch channel to other audiences or a bigger audience, good or bad? As per usual, we hope you guys all enjoy the Esports Rewind podcast. Same day, same time, every single gosh darn week. You got anything to say to him, Hunter?
You look so good today, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you back here next time. Until then,
Bye.
Brr.